Hi everybody and welcome back to LL Sports TV. I'm here with Melissa Zad. Just started a new channel. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. And we're going to talk about a few popular subjects in the world of boxing. Let's start with the fight that took place at the weekend. The main show, or the main fight on that card, was Anthony Yarde versus David Benavidez. Now, it didn't end too well for Anthony. He was stopped inside 7, let's be honest, pretty one-sided rounds. Now, Melissa, following that fight, there's been a lot of fallout, and a lot of the fallout has been directed to Anthony Yarde and his trainer, stroke manager, Tunde. A lot of people saying that he was mismanaged. So I'm here to ask you, do you think that Anthony Yarde's career has been mismanaged?
It's a big question. So I don't think it's necessarily been mismanaged. I don't think his career's been mismanaged. I think I've seen a lot of things circulating online about Anthony Yarde should have left his trainer by now. He should have left him ages ago, or he should leave him now, or whatever. The guy is in his 30s, in his mid-30s. And I guess that's the real question, right? And for me, I don't have a definite opinion on it because I think that we just won't know if his boxing potential would have hit new heights with a different trainer. That there's no way of answering that question. So I'll throw the question back at you.
Very skillfully done. I like that. You know what? That is a bit of an open-ended question. It's very difficult. There are nuances. So I was talking about this same issue with one of my friends who's actually in boxing. I won't name him for obvious reasons. But we talked about this whole, because it's been a big subject. You go online, a lot of people made videos about it, a lot of people talk about it. What I would say is it is difficult to gauge. I mean, it depends on what metrics you're using, because I would say, first and foremost, if you're talking about success in a boxer's career, you're talking about titles, the amount of earnings, because they are professional boxers, the fame, or stuff like that. So if we take those three things, opportunities. If you take those 3-4 things, then Anthony Yarde ticks at about 3 of those boxes. He's made good money. He's had title shots. He's achieved a level of profile. He's got people know who he is. He's very high profile. So if you look at those metrics, he's more than done that. You know what I mean? However, he's won the British title, I believe, and some, other titles, Intercontinental, this and that. But he's not really, how can I put it, acquired the kind of title success that one would have thought he would have had. And I think one of the reasons for that is if you look at the trajectory of his career, what you will see is that Anthony Yarde has had a series of fights against, let's face it, mediocre to fringe level guys. And then he's made that quantum leap to world title level. And every time he's stepped up to that level, he's been found wanting. Now, people will say he's not had those, what we call the graduation fights that will take you, through the gears and get to the top level. But, he's had, 3 world title shots. Unfortunately for Anthony, though, those 3 world title shots have come against guys who are exceptional champions. Kovalev, even though he was kind of veering towards the end of his career at the top when he fought Anthony Yarde, that fight was still, while he did have his powers with him. And he fought Kovalev in Russia, and not just Moscow. You're talking about some far-flung place in Kovalev's hometown. So it was unlikely he was going to win that one. He did well. He did his best. He hurt Kovalev. We all saw what happened. But it was ultimately unsuccessful. Then he had the fight with Beterbiev. Again, did his best, hurt Beterbiev, but ultimately couldn't get the job done. And then the Benavidez fight, unfortunately, didn't go that well for him. He was pretty much outclassed. It was pretty one-sided. So now people are going to ask the question, has he been mismanaged? I guess you could argue that.
But they've been asking that question.
They have, yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like, it's really hard to say, because it was kind of like this conversation we were having prior to filming, which is like, when you look at it, it falls under 2 strands, right? It's like you're thinking about Anthony Yarde as a boxer, which is the responsibility of him as a boxer and his trainer. And then you're thinking about him as a boxer brand, which is a responsibility of his manager. And this is wherein lies the problem, because obviously his manager and his trainer are the same.
Essentially.
So it's hard to separate the two out, right? And I would say that in terms of his profile, his stock, his brand, that's been managed extremely well. You know, like Anthony Yarde is a big household name. You know, he goes places. People are keen to, people want to be around him. He's also a lovely guy as well.
Definitely.
But then when you think about him as a boxer, I've heard and seen comments being like, he's the nearly man. And that's, well, yeah, I mean,
But he's a nearly man to 3 outstanding champions.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
You know, and there was, let's be real, like Kovalev, Beterbiev, and now Benavidez, like these guys, they're not going to get out. He's in with a puncher's chance, basically, is my opinion. I say that with all due respect, but these guys are creme de la creme.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and you got to remember as well, Anthony Yarde, like, let's keep it 100. He's coming from a fairly limited background in terms of boxing. So he had, 11 fights as an amateur? I think he won the Haringey Box Cup and then turned pro. So he's not had that depth of experience as an amateur or as a professional. But what he does have is outstanding athleticism. He can punch. And, when he's on his game, he's good to watch.
good reflexes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a remarkable story, really. So you've got to give Tunde and Anthony Yarde a lot of credit, given where they've come from, right, to ascend to that level. But like I said, the problem is that I don't think he's had the graduation fights. But then as somebody said to me today, you don't know, Laurie, maybe if he'd have had those graduation fights, he might have lost and he wouldn't have got those world title shots. So on balance, I don't think he's been mismanaged. I actually think he's been managed very well. But there is that... the corollary that, had he gone down a more traditional route, then,
could he have
been a better fighter?
It's hard to say. And also the other thing is like, you don't have that much to weigh Tunde up against as well, right? Like Anthony Yarde is his main boxer. He's also got Joel Kojua, and Joel is fantastic. Like he's really fantastic. I recently saw him live against Daniel Francis, who's another fantastic boxer, and he made it look real easy. And obviously he's trained by Tunde too. So it's hard to say. These things are really hard to be like, yeah, it's definitely this and it's definitely that. And unfortunately, we do live in an age where everything seems to be really black and white, and everyone wants these like hard and fast rules. Yeah. But I don't think it's quite that easy. However, we were also having a conversation about there is this thing within boxing where, certain boxers get very attached sentimentally to their coaches and potentially don't add in new eyes into the camp or bring in external influences. And there is a question around that, like, who else do they have in the camp? And, could they have benefited from some additional
Yeah, I see
tutelage?
that as well. I mean, some trainers, you only got to look at AJ. He's had numerous trainers in his career and it's worked for him. Some people would say he's had too many trainers. There's too many voices in his ear. He's not got a clear established identity. I think with Anthony Yarde as well, if you've come into the pros having had limited amateur experience and you've hooked up with a guy like Tunde, they've obviously got a very good relationship. They trust each other. I think that counts for a lot, especially in professional boxing. You know yourself, Melissa, it's a very murky world. So sometimes it's not just about having the most talented trainer. It's about having somebody you can trust, who can talk to you and engage with you, tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. You know what I mean? So I think Tunde and Anthony Yarde they've done a great job together. I think they're good for British boxing. Okay, he looks like he's not going to be a world champion. Well, certainly not in the near future.
Yeah.
But listen, man.
But he's achieved.
I think he's been a success story.
Yeah, he's achieved.
Yeah.
Interestingly, on the night we had Joshua Buatsi sat at ringside. Obviously, some years ago there was this, big buzz around Joshua Buatsi facing Anthony Yarde in a fight. Interestingly enough, the DAZN fan zone, I keep referring to this because I really engaged with it that night, but they did another poll, and they voted, and only 3% of the fans were keen to see that fight.
Oh, really?
As of today.
And it's interesting you should mention Buatsi, because a lot of people kind of compare the two careers and say, look, who's had the better career? Now, I would argue, well, I don't think it's close. So far, Anthony Yarde's had a better career, even though he's had the 3 losses. But they are 3 distinguished world champions. Buatsi's not even fought for a world title yet. His last fight let's be honest, it wasn't a very good look. It was a bit of a disaster. He's in a bit of limbo at the moment.
Well, his career is very frustrating.
Yeah,
it's been
exactly.
frustrating.
So I asked the people, who do you think's had a better career, Yarde or Buatsi? And let's be honest, when I remember being around, I was at the press conference when Buatsi turned pro. He was going to be the golden boy. He was going to be the next big thing. It's not quite happened. I would argue that Yarde's career, Melissa, has been more successful than Buatsi, even though he's not acquired a world title. He's had 3 opportunities, made a lot of money, and as you said, he's a very high-profile fighter. The two of them walk down the road, down Finsbury Park or Seven Sisters Road. I think more people are going to know Anthony Yarde.
I would agree.
And that's no disrespect to Buatsi, who I rate, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We've got to move on because time is pressing. I did want to ask you about a couple of high-profile fights coming up this Saturday. It's a shame that both of them are taking place on the same night. We've got the British heavyweight title fight between Burton/Derby's Fraser Clark. He's taking on North London's Jamie TKV. He's from just up the road. We got Ben Whittaker making his matchroom debut. He's fighting a guy, I think it's called Benjamin Gavasi from Germany. Let me ask you straight away, which one appeals to you most? Putting you on the spot again.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say that they appeal to me equally.
You've got to stop.
I have got to stop. No, I think probably the Whittaker fight appeals to me more, just because of Whittaker. Right? Like, he's so exciting. He's a real showman, and he has his style and his confidence/arrogance, and I'm excited for it, and it'll be his matchroom debut, so they'll make a big song and dance about it, and it'll be a spectacle that I want to see.
Absolutely.
The TKV Clark fight does appeal to me, but I think that I am leaning favorably on one side. So yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to all of those guys. But I do think you're right. I think I probably lean towards a Ben Whittaker fight. Because, like I said, it's his matchroom debut. He's coming off a really outstanding performance in his last fight when he got the revenge over Liam Cameron. They're talking him up. Eddie Earn's doing his salesman's pitch. It's going to be the biggest thing. And so, yeah, I would give that one the edge. It's working,
isn't it?
But I would say that I don't know if you saw the little tete-a-tete that Jamie TKV and Fraser Clark had on TalkSport, really. I thought that was really good. It was really funny. And it's kind of piqued my interest now in that fight. There's nothing like a good old domestic dust-up. And these two guys, there was that tension there. You could have cut the tension in the room with a knife. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
I've got to say, right, I didn't watch the full thing. I just saw clips and snippets of it. But Jamie, why does this keep happening? He had a similar thing with David Adelaide. Now with Fraser Clark, are you just that guy? Are you going to do this with every heavyweight that you face off against?
I like it, man. He's selling the fight.
If you are, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm with that, man. He didn't get out of hand.
No, it didn't.
He was saying, "Look, I'll come step to you," and I thought, and then I like the way Fraser kind of handled himself as well. And I thought that was a good little,
I like Jamie a lot. He's a really cool dude, and I really wish him all the best. I thought that, I like how he's got a bit of that attitude going into these fights.
Yeah, you want that, especially with heavyweights. Because you think, right, if they go in there and take that attitude into the ring, we could see a good fight. Jamie TKV, he boxed really well in his losing effort to David Adelaide. He has some grounds for feeling a bit hard done by with the
it's
illegal
controversial.
punch.
Yeah, controversial outcome to that fight.
So this is a big opportunity for him.
Yeah.
And I wish them both luck. I know Fraser Clark quite well. When I say quite well, I've met him a few times. Really nice guy. I've met Jamie TKV once. He seems like a cool guy.
He's a lovely guy, yeah.
May the best man win.
Yeah.
Predictions?
I think that I'm leaning, with all respect, Jamie, I'm leaning towards Fraser Clark winning that. Just based on stuff I've seen. I could be wrong.
He's got the amateur pedigree.
He's got the pedigree.
Experience.
Yeah.
I think he is the better boxer. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm leaning towards a Fraser Clark win.
Points or inside the distance?
I would say points, actually.
And Ben Whittaker versus Gavasi or Gavasi?
I don't know enough about Gavasi, but...
He's a German guy. He's got a good record. He's supposed to be a decent puncher.
Right.
He's a decent opponent, so I'm hearing.
I'm backing the Brit for that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going for Ben Whittaker. But obviously there'll be a little bit of pressure on him because people will be expecting him to go out there and really do a number on this guy. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Melissa! I think it'll be a clinical performance from the surgeon. Did you like
I
that?
like that. I'm with that. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. Thanks to Melissa for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one. We're out.